Welcome to all Caribbean entrepreneurs. If you've been ready and waiting to take your business digital and get paid online while you sip something strong on the beach, this podcast is for you. We'll hear from the Caribbean's finest entrepreneurs on topics like e-commerce, business development, brand building, social media, their wins and failures. This is the only place in the region helping you navigate the digital age from the Caribbean's perspective. This is Digipreneur FM. And now, let's give it up for the Digiboss himself, Mr. Karan Rose.
Thank you to everybody tuning in to another episode of the Digipreneur FM podcast. And as usual, it is your boy, Mr. Rose, back in the building. And finally, DJ, you gotta fade us all the way out because we gotta talk to the people. October 27th, 2022. This is episode number 107. Folks, it's been a while. It's been about 2 weeks since we had an episode. If you have been following me over on social media, you guys know that I was out of the country for a little bit. I was out in Jamaica. I was out getting my jerk chicken. I felt, you know what? Pandemic is done. The travel bug bit me after going to the Bahamas. I was like, man, I need to really get on planes more and get out and get outside and do some things and see the world. And I decided I was hungry. I felt for some jerk chicken. I felt for some oxtails, some rice and peas. I felt for some festival, and I said, you know what? Let me jump on a plane. Let me hop over to Jamaica right quick and organize myself. Now I'm playing. I went over to Jamaica because of Widay 2022. So the company Wipay had their annual conference, and this was the first in-person conference since the pandemic, right? The last one being in 2019. So they held it out in Jamaica. And this was the first one that they did out in Jamaica. No, the very first Widay was in Jamaica. So this was the second launch event in Jamaica. And this was to commemorate their 5-year anniversary, right? And a lot has happened over the past couple of years. And this is the reason why, or this is the topic for today's episode. We're going to be recapping what happened at Widay 2022 and some of the new offerings that Wipay has launched. And I'm going to be playing clips from the event. So we're going to hear from the CEO, Mr. Aldwin Wayne, and we're also going to be getting a breakdown as to what they're launching and the importance. And I'm kind of here just to kind of give it context and, again, recap the event. It's really amazing to see where the Caribbean is going. It's amazing to see. And I'm not going to lie to tell you, there are many a day. I have a running joke with a couple of my friends where you wake up every day. Well, if you're living in Trinidad, you wake up every day, you're super inspired. And by some point in the day, it could be one catastrophic event. It could be a string of events or a string of things that you see, that you read, that you watch. And you just lose faith little by little during the course of the day that we are going to fix the mess that we are in Trinidad and Tobago, right? And then you kind of go to bed and your cup could be empty by the end of the day, but by midnight, you sleep it off and you wake back up ready to take back on the world, and then it kind of decreases. But however, I mean, everybody in my circle is working their asses off, to be the change that they want to see, right? So nobody's complaining and just, accepting what's happening. We're gonna bitch, we're gonna complain, we're gonna talk about it, and then we're gonna get up and go see about how we can be a part of that change, right? And so we've been battling that. I've been battling that for a while now. I think the last year and a bit really felt like, are we ever gonna make it out of the shit that we are in Trinidad? I don't know. I don't see it. All right. But going over to Jamaica, now disclaimer, nowhere in the world is perfect, right? Toronto, well, I can't say born, but that's where I was raised, spent my life. Nowhere is perfect. Toronto ain't perfect. There's a lot of things happening all over the world, right? So I'm not delusional that, there's a perfect place. However, going over to Jamaica, finally getting to meet all of my Jamaican people, friends, fam that, I've connected with over the years, and this was the first time we got to meet face to face, was special. But you see, what Widay 2022 did for me, besides what they did on stage, was I was in a room with a couple hundred people, and it was a room full of change makers on a high level. People doing some really amazing things. So when you finally get to go and hail them and talk about what they're doing and what's happening and, the IPOs they're launching, and listen to me, man. You're just listening to folks, and you're like, wow. There's a lot happening. There's a lot happening in Jamaica, and there's a lot happening out of Jamaica. And just to be in that room and be a part of the conversations, hear the conversations, and just meet people that are just making waves, I felt reinvigorated. Like, even if things are not where we would like them to be in Trinidad and Tobago is still one place. There are things happening in the region, right? And this is why a lot of the times when I speak, I don't really say, Trinidad and Tobago. I will say Caribbean. I'm trying to be, I want to play a part in the resurgence of the Caribbean. I want to be a part of the innovation in the Caribbean. I'm thinking Caribbean wide. The Caribbean is a big slice. It's an entire region. I could be very happy, being a part of the entire Caribbean movement, right? And because you have all of these global players that are trying to invest, they're investing in the Caribbean because they see a lot of value in the Caribbean. Mastercard has set up shop in Trinidad and Tobago. They launched their office last month. Visa is a part of the FinTech TNT Association. They're down here regularly investing in the Caribbean. They're investing in Trinidad and Tobago. So there's a lot happening. There is a lot happening in the country. And a lot of the framework right now, even if you don't see it, whether you're in Trinidad or even if you're in Jamaica, because there's a lot of Jamaicans that still feel like they're not seeing a lot of the things that are being touted, right? But I think that a lot of the framework and the foundation is what is being built right now. And again, just seeing some of the global players doubling down and investing in the Caribbean, and you're seeing it. You're seeing them here. You're seeing them set up shop, and you're hearing the plans. I have faith. If there's anybody that's going to make dents, it's people with a proven track record, like a Mastercard, like a Visa. So again, just seeing these entities setting up shop and looking to double down lets you know that things are gonna happen. Things are happening. So being at Widay, being in that room, talking to everybody, listening to everybody's stories really reinvigorated me, and it really made me feel like, yo, everybody has their role to play. People are playing their roles. Things are going to happen. Whether we like it or not, change is going to come. And we are still battling with, old gatekeepers or people who, even if they're not a gatekeeper, people that just don't understand what is happening. We're battling with that. But I think we have enough talent, and I think we have enough people with tenacity to make real epic level changes. And so my time in Jamaica was, again, it was work. It was work and reflect. Not too much play. I didn't play too much. I think the next time I go, definitely gonna play. But I got to work. I got to network. I got to meet a lot of people. Sat down, had some amazing conversations. Shout outs to Terry Carell, Garfi, Naomi Garrick, Marsha, Kibwe, Amashika. Like, there's a lot of people I got to sit down with and just talk. Viv from Hadira out in the UK, my guy. There's a lot of people I got to sit down and just talk and just. It was great. It was great. So I feel reinvigorated, right? But beyond that, let's talk Widay 2022. So I was able to kick things off. I got to co-host with the boss, Dr. Terry Carell Reed, and that was amazing too. Just listen, seeing that girl work. There are hosts. There are people who host events. There are people who are on paper or their title is Master of Ceremonies, and then there's Terry Carell. She's a whole different breed because she is like she's a host, she's a producer, she's the event coordinator. She does so much in her capacity. And again, just being able to just watch her work, so being alongside her, but also being able to watch her work, there's just so much that you don't see. There's just so much behind the scenes that you don't see that she does. So even for me and her talk all the time, and she might be like, yo, you get it. My content is not necessarily for you in terms of what she is saying publicly. But I always remind her, I'm like, yo, whatever you say publicly is fine. Like, I'm always learning from you because I'm watching you. Like, I watch. Did you move your glass to the left? Why did you do that? Make a note. Like, I'm always watching how she does things. And that is how I predominantly learn from TK, from Dr. Terry Carell Reed. I watch what she does, and there's a lot of things that she does where I'm making my notes, right? So just being able to see how she moves, what she does, and how she works was definitely great for me. She's an absolute boss, all right? Widay, they launched two major things. They launched a new network called the Vote Network, and it's their way of kind of existing outside of the banks, but being able to do inter-region payments, sending, receiving money throughout the entire Caribbean and beyond, because they just launched Wipay Ghana. I was about to say Guyana. They just launched Wipay Ghana last month, and they're also going to be launching. They also launched Wipay Cayman, and they're also going to be rolling out Wipay Colombia. I forget if that is before the end of the year or if that is by next month. But let's just say before the end of the year, Wipay Colombia is going to be out too. So they're really expanding beyond the Caribbean. And again, the goal is to be able to conduct business kind of outside of the banking system so that they can actually allow for financial inclusion, right? So they launched a new Volt network, and I'm going to play a clip that breaks that down, and then I'll add my comments after the fact, but I want you guys to get the context of the network first, taken directly from them so I don't butcher it. And then we're going to hear from the CEO, Mr. Alden Wayne, where he is talking about the goal of Wipay, but also the new Color Bank app that they're launching and the Caribbean's first tokenized digital credit card, all right? And it's just crazy to see that if you guys been following the news or following Wipay, you guys would have heard that last year they moved their headquarters out of Trinidad and Tobago and they moved it out to Jamaica because the environment for entrepreneurship and building your business is just a lot more enabling in Jamaica. And also well, you guys are going to hear about it, but they have, as a part of their Volt network, they're doing business in Grenada as well, and Grenada just legalized digital currency. And I'm going to play that clip. I'm going to play the clip because it's going to explain it. But Grenada launched a new law regulating digital currencies, and Wipay has launched a stable coin that allows to facilitate the movement of their money throughout the entire Caribbean region, or all the markets that they are in. So the fact that, all of these things had to happen outside of its home country, that is the point I'm going to make. The fact that they had to go to, they went to Jamaica, headquarters out there. They got their stable coin registered in Grenada. Color Bank is it's the Caribbean's first neo bank, the first digital bank. And that is registered in the U.S. The fact that everything is happening outside of Trinidad and Tobago says a lot. It says a lot. I'm sorry, but it says a lot. When all of the innovation that is happening has to happen outside of Trinidad and Tobago, and this is the home country, and at no point is the TT government working hard to bring back the Caribbean's largest fintech and saying, yo, how do we fix this? Because the innovation is happening. You can't stop innovation, right? So the conversations that are happening in Jamaica, and this is another point that I wanted to make, right? The level of conversations that are happening in terms of innovation in Jamaica, we're not even close in Trinidad. We're not. The conversations that I was witnessing, that I was a part of, that I was seeing in Jamaica, right? From what is, in the works, from what is being implemented right now, from what's to come. Listen, the entire conversation in Jamaica, we are not having in Trinidad, bar none. It's not even close. It's not even close. And that's another reason, and that's a big part of the reason why, like I was saying in the beginning, you kind of wake up, you're hopeful, you're doing what you got to do, and then by the day's end, you're like, yo, your motivation to do things is low because of what is happening at a national level. And then you kind of go to bed, shake it off, and you get back up, punch the clock, and you get back to it to make that change, all right? But definitely being in Jamaica and seeing everything and being a part of those conversations, you're like, yo, nah, things are happening. You're invigorated to do what you got to do, and you're around people pushing the barriers. And I would love to start feeling like that and seeing that in Trinidad. We are a launch culture in Trinidad. We like to launch. We like to splash. We like the headlines. So everybody's launching. Everybody's hosting a conference. But then what happens after the launch? What happens after the conference? We're not seeing any of the implementation or any of the things you're talking about. We're not seeing it. Right? We're not seeing it. So, without further ado, let us, because I still want to add the commentary, all right? We're going to hear about the Volt network. This is the new network that Wipay has launched, and this is how they're going to be able to facilitate inter-regional money movement outside of the banks, all right? So, let's cue up that clip, and let's hear what they got to say.
16 countries. Connected in every way, but financially disconnected.
This region possesses 10 unique currencies, but no inter-island settlement. In the Caribbean, transactions originated in Trinidad needs to go to a correspondent bank in the US before it settles into another country. But this can be solved. Introducing the Volt Network. The Volt Network will connect over 50,000 websites and point-of-sale terminals across the Caribbean that processes individual, government, and corporation transactions. Wipay's privately owned network has created a unified settlement network for the Caribbean. This solves one of the greatest financial problems that exists in the Caribbean: cross-border settlement. Each Caribbean country has their own currency that trades primarily with the US dollar. By pegging a digital token to the US dollar, transactions from one country to another can maintain the expected value because local currencies maintain its value against the US currency. This digital token that exists on the Volt network would facilitate inter-island transactions without the need for correspondent banking. The Volt network, through its partnership with Wipay, would replace Wipay's digital fiat solutions, which is utilized by a number of governments and private sector entities across the Caribbean. The Volt network can also solve interbank USD settlement by creating a real-time settlement rather than 2 to 5 day wire transfers. But how does the Volt network solve this? The digital token is a smart contract built on proof-of-stake distributed ledger system, where the owner of the digital token earns a fraction of every transaction.
These virtual assets in parallel with the monies. One, nobody could have control that you have to pass it to a corresponding bank.
Volt's digital token is registered in the island nation of Grenada, which just passed legislation to regulate digital currency. This stable token, paired with the Volt network, shall create the Caribbean's first unified currency.
Yes, sir. So what do you guys think of that? Pretty interesting stuff. So now, utilizing Wipay's Volt network, you're going to be able to now move money to any of the markets that they are in without having to do wire transfers, right? Because basically, when we are sending money, and we have to use a corresponding bank, and the corresponding banks are usually a bank in the U.S. because we typically move U.S. money. So when we send TT, it converts to U.S. and then it goes to whatever currency. It ends up in whatever currency of the country that you were sending it to, but it passes through the U.S., right? And every time the banks get involved, they take a piece. So that's why the fees are always so high to move money across the world. And so with their new network, you're going to be able to send, receive money without having to use the wire transferring system or the SWIFT network. You don't have to use the banks. The fees are going to be minimal, right? Fees are going to be minimal. And then the speed as to which you're going to be able to send money is going to be instantaneous. So it's not going to be like when you do a wire transfer and it's going to take 1 to 5 business days depending on the banks and where you're sending it to and yada, yada, yada. So very interesting stuff. And again, this is going to facilitate, trade across the region or all the markets that Wipay is going to be in, right? So again, they just launched Wipay Ghana. They're going to be launching Wipay Colombia, and they have plans to expand into more markets. So any market that they are going to be in, the Volt network is going to allow you to facilitate sending and receiving money to any of the locations that they are in, right? So that is amazing stuff. Now, what I want to do is I want to play the clip from Aldwin Wayne, the CEO, where he starts talking about financial inclusion. He starts talking about the new Color Bank app that they're launching and the Caribbean's first ever tokenized digital credit card. There's also going to be the physical card. I've held it. I have seen it. I have watched it work. I have seen both the physical card work. I have seen the digital card work and then make payments for it. So again, we know a couple years ago they were trying to launch the Rebel card and they ran into a whole heap of problems here in Trinidad and Tobago, and the government pretty much kind of shut that thing down, and they had to come back to the table and try again. And the way that they've done it this time is, again, it's just absolutely incredible. And I think everything worked out. I think this iteration of what they are doing with color, also with Mastercard in tow, I think it's incredible. So let's cue up the clip with the CEO, Mr. Alden Wayne, and he's going to be talking about, like I said, financial inclusion, the new Color Bank app, and the Caribbean's first tokenized credit card. So let me just cue that up, and let's go.
Financial inclusion is great, but you know what's better? How about we treat every Jamaican the same way that the big boys are treated? How about we get every Jamaican a tool that allows them to have access to payments, have access to getting their funds, have access to all these services that the bank normally offers without stepping into a bank? So, I mentioned the pan chicken man. How about we show how the pan chicken man could get paid with a point-of-sale terminal that exists on his phone? You download the app, his phone can now accept credit card payment. A feature called Tap to Pay. Your multi-link card, you just tap it on his phone, and the money goes directly to his phone. Tap on glass technology, first of its kind in the Caribbean. Every cell phone in Jamaica would now be a point-of-sale terminal. You don't need to go to the bank. You don't have a monthly fee. Or you do have to pay Digicel or Flow, whatever. But you don't have to pay the banks for a terminal. Everyone has a terminal. What did Oppo say? You get a terminal, you get a terminal. Everyone gets a terminal. In 2023, every Jamaican, if they want to do business in Jamaica, they can now accept payments. Think of Ochi, Mobe, Hip Strip. I go to the Hip Strip all the time, and I would like to buy certain items on the Hip Strip. I'm not going to say what it is. Wow. But they don't accept credit cards. I'm like, I need it. I only got my credit card, right? And it's like, so go to the ATM. By the time I get to the ATM, my conscience says, oh, well, you don't need that. He lost the sale. Yeah, he just did, because I get in, I put the money in, no, I take it back out. But imagine if I meet this guy, you know that spot right by where the plane lands in Mobe? By Yui. Right, they sit right there. Could even know what I'm talking about. So yeah, I would love to patronize the good gentlemen with their products. But they just don't accept credit cards. But now we can. We can now give them a tool that exists on their phone that processes credit cards. Mastercard, Visa, and American Express. But guess what? They are now part of the system. Now they get this credit card, or they get this app that allows them to accept payments. But the money goes to their phone. How do they get it out? We, in the English-speaking Caribbean, are going to launch the first digital tokenized Mastercard. So you know what Apple Pay is? You know what Apple Pay is? So in Jamaica, you're going to have the first MasterCard that's going to be tokenized. What that means, it exists in your phone. You don't actually need a physical card. You can instantly get this card on your phone and then go into AC or go into anywhere that has a point-of-sale terminal and make a payment. Do we have that clip at AC? Where they have no clue. The guy's like, okay, I'm just going to use my phone. And he's like, what? I'm like, yeah, use your phone. So that's a digital card. That's the number. Hey! All right. So yeah, this is the AC. So it's the same app. We were testing it out. You literally can use any point-of-sale terminal in the world that accepts MasterCard to make a payment. I'm gonna stop, let you see it. It's all the same card. So the app is called Color, so we allow you to choose your own, style. But this is an AC. That's right out front. You accept it. You got to put in his PIN. With a transaction, no card required. So, Minister, who's about to grab your drink, we could distribute 100,000 cards to 100,000 Jamaicans tomorrow, all on their phone. They could visit the nearest ATM or visit any store, Mega Mart, Price Mart, and just use their phone to accept or to use this government payment. That's the technology that's going to be launched in Jamaica, first of its kind in the region. It's like Apple Pay here in Jamaica. The card itself, I'm going to use a fancy term that Jimena told me not to use, but I'm going to use it anyway. It's an MDES technology. So even if you don't use our fancy app, you're allowed to use this tokenized cards on companies like Google Pay, Android Pay, Apple Pay. So now you can actually tap your Apple phone at AC, at Broken Plate, at Uncork, and look like them fancy Yankee people them. I don't know if you all call them Yankee, but in Trinidad we call them Yankee, so I'm going to say Yankee. No offense to the Yankees in the audience, but that's just how it is. But that's the technology in partnership with Mastercard that we intend to bring here to Jamaica. We got a couple of regulatory hurdles that we need to cross, FGB, but it's already done. As you said, we've been testing it over 3 months, 4 months, but literally, we can now move money directly from, let's say, the government to your phone, and you have no app that you need to download. You could go straight to an ATM and withdraw cash. Any ATM, not a specific one, any ATM. You could go to any point-of-sale device and make a payment. And the future of this technology, the future, because I'm not too sure if BOJ is in here, so I want to make sure I said the future, pending regulatory approval, is Mastercard Send. So that same phone, that same app, that same card, you have a family member that lives in the US who have that card, who have a MasterCard. You could now send money using Mastercard Send straight to that phone at 2 o'clock in the morning for $0. $0, not 3, 0. And that's the technology that we are bringing to Jamaica. That's the technology that we expect in 2023, latter half of 2022, we expect for every Jamaican to have. You met my country manager, Kibwe. We intend to be in Chelani, Tivoli. We are not bankers. Do I look like a banker? We're not bankers. We expect to go into every corner and explain to every one of these people that thought that they're not involved, they're not part of the system, that they are part of the system. The economy revolves around them. Shaggy, he's rich. He don't spend no money, right? Every day we wake up, the underbanked, the unbanked, they wake up, they buy bread, they buy patty, they buy sugar, they buy flour. They keep the economy going, but yet still they are looked down upon. Our job is to fix it, with Shaggy, of course, right? So I'm not too sure whatever video they have left for me, but the whole purpose of what we are trying to do at Wipay is financial inclusion, as the chairman said. We're going to bring technology coming into the last quarter and into 2023 that's going to blow this whole market open. Every Jamaican is going to have a Mastercard, whether it be digital or physical. And you would now be able to use that Mastercard. Is it 4 million, Balton, across the world? 4 million. So let's throw it off for certain people who say they have 100,000 customers in Jamaica. I don't call no name. Certain liquor company and say, yo, man, 100,000. Yo, play my song for me. Fall off. DJ. Come with the time, man. My song. So, out of everything that I said tonight, right, and again, I'll thank you guys for coming. But what I want you to understand, the takeaway is this. Wipay is not here to amass 200,000 customers. Wipay is not here to say, hey, download this wallet, it's pretty, it's fancy. Wipay is here to educate the people that don't understand that financial literacy and financial inclusion is our way out, is our way out from this circle that we live in, the circle that they live in, right? If they understand, I mean, I'm fortunate to be, coming from a business family, that I learned about money when I was like 10 years old. But if that opportunity was provided to 50%, 90%, 60% of us, we would have a much more vibrant society. And that's our mission. As I said, my chairman said financial inclusion. I'm saying financial literacy, financial inclusion for all, not just for 4, 5 society or parts of society. I'm thinking everyone. So I invited friends who may not normally be part of the financial ecosystem. I invited friends who are part of the financial ecosystem. You look at our lobby, we had the artisans who don't have banks, and then we had, JMMB, FGB, Mastercard, all in one place. That's our vision for the future. We all exist in the same ecosystem. And once we do that, we would have a better Caribbean. We would have a better society for people that look like us across the world.
Wow. Wow, 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 wow. That was a lot to take in. The Color Bank app, the tokenized credit card, the Volt network. These are some of the foundational tools that the Caribbean needs for financial freedom, all right? So when you think about the underbanked, the unbanked, they're unable to get bank services or very little bank services, all right? The fact that now you're going to be able to have a tool, you're going to be able to use your phone, you're going to be able to use an app to now conduct business. So if you have a business, you're going to be able to take payments, right? And you need to think about, it's not just about your local consumers anymore. We live in the Caribbean. People are flying in all the time. And I was saying this when I was out in Jamaica, just listening to the conversations in the airport, and everybody's talking about where they're going to be going. They're Googling businesses, they're Googling activities. And for the most part, it's the locals running a lot of these things, right? And they only take cash. But just taking cash is going to limit your business, because think about us here in Trinidad and Tobago, where we have a problem getting US dollars. It is a problem to get US dollars, right? And cash is a hassle. Cash is also security risk. So now, you have a business, you're going to be able to use your phone. People are going to be able to come. They can pay with their credit cards. You can accept the payments. And then rather than having to deposit the money to a bank, you're going to now have either the digital credit card or the actual physical credit card, because you could apply for that and get it, right? And you're going to be able to use your phone to make payments. So all of the terminals around the world have been upgraded and are able to now accept tap to pay technology, right? And the interesting thing is, Aldrin was talking about the card being tokenized. It's because now you could take that digital card and you can add that card to Apple Pay, to Samsung Pay, to Google Pay, right? So even if you don't want to use the Color Bank app to make the payments, you can take that credit card, you can add it to Samsung Pay or Google Pay or Apple Pay, and now you could use your watch to make payments, right? You can use, other peripherals to make those payments, right? Because all that money that you would get from the Color Bank app is going to go right to your tokenized card, and you can take that tokenized card and you could use it into whatever app you feel comfortable with, right? And Apple Pay, Google Pay, those things are tap to pay, right? We just haven't had a credit card that works with those services, but we're going to be able to utilize a lot of the technology now, right? So even if you don't use Apple Pay, Google Pay, whatever, you could still use the Color Bank app to make payments. You can still use your phone to make payments. So I have a business, I'm selling coconut water on the road. Somebody whips out their credit card or they whip out their phone. They pay me, right? I receive the money. It's in my Color Bank wallet. I could then withdraw the money to my digital credit card or my physical credit card, whatever you have. And then I can go places and make payments, buy groceries and whatnot. You guys would have seen that a lot of the ATMs now are taking tap to pay. So rather than having to insert your card, you can tap your cards at the ATM and conduct your business. And then you're going to be able to tap your phone to withdraw money at the ATM, right? So all of these things are finally here, right? The release date, because right now everything is in beta. But like I said, I've watched it work. I've seen it work. I've held the cards. I've seen it being used myself in Jamaica. The launch date for everything is set for December. So December, stay tuned to Wipay's official channels, whether it's a social media or the website. Stay tuned to their official channels because things are supposed to be rolling out across the Caribbean come December. So really interesting things. And again, it's just amazing now that we finally have the tools to start to participate in the global economy, because again, now you're not limited. You're not just allowing people to come and just pay you via cash, right? Now you can take your credit card payments. Remember, Wipay also has their online payment gateway as well, right? So if you have a website, you could use Wipay on your website, and Wipay will process the payments if you have a website, right? But now if you need a physical point of sale terminal, the reason why they stopped circulating their terminals, actual physical terminals, is because they've been working on this. So rather than having to give out a physical terminal, now you're going to be able to use your phone as a terminal, right? And people can tap to pay with their devices on your terminal. And everything is using, tap to pay tech, NFC in your devices. It's really amazing stuff. It's really a great time to be in the Caribbean. The Caribbean, for far too long, has needed its own tools. Part of the reason why we get so upset, or people get so upset, is because they've wanted to be able to use, you're seeing online, you're seeing things like the Stripes, the PayPals, the e-commerce tools on social media. We see all of these things and we want to use it, but the reality is that they were never made with our markets in mind. So we can't be upset that the makers of those platforms or of those tools never thought about the Caribbean, right? They did not think about the Caribbean when they made those tools. All right. So we needed our own. And it's just great to see that we have entrepreneurs with the tenacity to figure out how to get this thing done. We know that our rules, our laws, our regulations are out of date. We know the environments are not always the most enabling, and it's frustrating to conduct business, but it takes special people to have the mindset, have the resources, and the know-how and the leadership to pull all of this together and navigate this maze and solve real world problems. So I'm extremely excited for 2023. I'm looking forward to the rollout. I actually have the app myself. I have both the beta and I have the live version on my device. So on social media, if you guys are following me over on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, even LinkedIn, you guys can follow me over at Keron Rose, KERONROSE. Follow me over there, but guys, I'm going to be checking out the app. I have the app. I haven't dove into it too much yet, but I'm going to take a couple of days. I'm going to play around with it. And I'm going to be dropping some behind the scenes over on social media as to how the app looks, how the app works, and what you guys can kind of expect. So that's going to be, that's going to be fun. I'll be doing that over on social media. But yeah, I would love to hear your thoughts. I would love to hear, what you think about, Wipay's new Volt network, what you guys think about what you can do with the Color Bank app. Are you guys going to be signing up for the tokenized credit card? Are you guys going to be utilizing the point of sale terminal? Are you going to be taking payments on your devices with the new Color Bank app? I would love to hear your thoughts. Get into the conversation on social media because, the links to the podcast will be posted on social media. I'd love to hear from you. Definitely, you could jump in my DMs and let's have that conversation. It should be very, very interesting. So the future really does look bright, and I know it might not feel like it every single day. Trust and believe, I know. It might not feel like it day to day, but again, just being in Jamaica, being in the room, seeing what people are doing and what they have on stream, I really believe that our future is bright. It's taking longer, but maybe it's also right on time as well. Right? Maybe it's also right on. I believe everything is happening for a reason, and I believe everything is happening, within the time that it's supposed to happen. So amazing, amazing stuff. I really enjoyed myself. I can't wait to see the new solutions with Wipay, Color Bank, the Volt Network. I can't wait to see it in the wild. I can't wait to see, how it's going to work and how people are going to be leveraging it. I will always remind you guys that when they do roll it out, whatever kinks that are in the platform, right? Keep in mind that when we are comparing it to other companies, other products, other services, companies like PayPal have been in the business over 20 years, right? So let me just Google. When was PayPal founded? Let's see. Look at that. PayPal came out in 1998. My goodness. PayPal came out in PayPal is 24 years old, right? That's an adult. Stripe came out in 2010, 12 years old. Zelle came out in 2017. Payoneer came out in 2005, right? If we look at Wise, let's put in TransferWise. TransferWise came out in 2010, right? So when we are checking out Wipay stuff and we're being critical, remember that when you are comparing it to all of these other platforms that we either use or we would want to use, remember that all of these companies are more than a decade old, right? They are more than a decade old. They have had time to go through the teething processes and fix every single thing. Granted, Wipay has been in the business for a few years now, but again, all this stuff is new. And our problem isn't just the technology, right? Our problem is on so many different fronts. There was a technology, then there's the rules, the regulations, and then there is the adoption of all the tech for just regular folks, for people who have never utilized any of these devices before, right? All of that is barriers for us that we have to keep in mind. So it's going to take a lot of education. If you are a business owner, you should know in and out how all of this stuff works so that you can now train and condition your clients on how to conduct business with you. So if you get the Wipay Color Bank app and you're doing your point of sales on your device, you should be taking a few extra minutes training people. Hey, did you guys know you guys can sign up for this service and you guys can use your phone to make payments? And again, don't think of it as you are trying to promote Wipay. Think of it as you are trying to have a smoother business process. You are trying to have a smoother flow for your business in your spot, right? No one's going to take care of your business the way that you are going to. So if you train your clientele how to do business with you in the smoothest way possible, then everybody wins. Because now they're going to understand how these applications work, and then they're going to understand how to use it. That also builds trust between you and your clientele. But remember, too, now they're going to be coming in, and rather than handing you cash, they're going to say, nah, man, I'm not paying with cash. I want to tap to pay. I want to use the app. I want to tap to pay. All right? I want to use my phone. I want to tap to pay. So this is how we are going to progress. All the business owners are going to need to understand how all these things work. Understand it to a point. Like, I don't need you to know the nuts and bolts, but understand it to a point. That way you could take the extra few minutes. And I know you guys are busy. You guys are busy taking over the world, building your brand, building your businesses. But take the extra few minutes to condition your clientele how to conduct business with you. That way you have a smoother process moving forward, because now people are just going to come in. And this is going to be the steps that we take to get to a cashless society. Everybody has to be on board. The government can't force us to be a cashless society. Cashless societies happen because all stakeholders, businesses and clients, understand the benefits and understand how these things work, and they want to use the technology. The businesses need to have it in place to be able to accept, and then the businesses also need to have a hand in training the clients. That way, when the clients come in, they want to utilize the technology because, again, it's just going to work for them too. That's less cash for them to deal with, right? And now that you're going to be using something that's outside of the banking system, where you can take your payments, put the money in your credit card. Family, friends in other countries that Wipay is in is going to be able to send and receive money to each other and then have instant access to the money. Versus if you send the money right now and then Wipay has to ACH payments to the local bank account, that takes days as well. Now you're going to have instant payouts. All of this stuff works in our favor. I'm excited to see it in the wild. And again, these are the tools that we need to move our region forward. All right. And then when all the foreigners are coming in and they want to do business with us and they want to pay us, then they're not utilizing cash. They're paying you through their credit cards, and it's easier for them too. Because getting cash for them is a hassle too. Walking around with too much cash in a foreign country is never a good look. All right. Wipay just did Miami Carnival and processed all the payments at there's a guy named Marco Brown. I forget the name of the company, but he has the largest concession area or bars for Miami Carnival, and Wipay processed all the payments for him. Wipay is also going to be processing the payments for Burna Boy's concerts in the Caribbean region as well. All right, so all these things are a massive, massive benefit. I'm glad to see it. I'm here for it. And yeah, let's see how this thing plays out. 2023 is looking bright. All right. So that is it for me for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. Looking forward to further discussions in the comments with you guys and gals as well. All right. So if you enjoyed this episode, feel free to drop a rating on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any other places that you guys listen to the podcast. If there's a rating system, rate the podcast. That helps to continue to grow the Digipreneur podcast family. And also, if you really enjoyed today's episode, please feel free to drop a review, drop a comment. I love reading the reviews. I love reading the comments. Again, they give me feedback and see exactly how well we are doing with respects to the podcast and how we can improve. And again, it's just good to hear from the Digipreneur family. All right. If you are not following me over on social media, in the words of Young Brother, what are you doing? You can check me out on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok at Keron Rose, KeronRosc on all platforms. And if all else fails, you can Google me and you're going to be able to see all the social media platforms and everything that I'm involved in as well. Don't forget to check out the KeronRose.com website. This will be linked in the show notes to learn more about building your digital presence and monetizing your platforms. And last but not least, check out the Digipreneur.fm website to stay up to date on all things related to the podcast. That is it from me today, folks. This week, honestly, I'm still kind of unwinding, and I finally finished unpacking from Jamaica. So this week is only going to be one episode. I will see you guys next week. And oh my goodness, next week is November. How did we reach November already? But we got 2 months left in the year. There's still a lot of things coming. So that's all right, right? I will see you guys next week. Enjoy your weekend and take care.
You've been listening to the Digiboss, Keron Rose. We hope your notepad was filled after this episode. Make sure to like, rate, and review the show. The learning doesn't stop, folks. And to make sure you don't miss any gems from the Digiboss, go over and follow him on all social media platforms at Keron Rose. Folks, don't just sit there with a notepad. We need you to implement at least one thing into your business before the next episode. That's the only way your business levels up. Thanks for listening to Digipreneur FM. Now go be great.